The man walked. City sounds, a symphony of chaos, he felt it all. Desperation, fear, a weight on his soul. He was different, he felt emotions, not his own. His name was John. No, not special, just John. But he felt the city's pain, millions of souls, a chorus of need, housing, money, the basics, gone. He felt their lack. John walked on, each step heavy. The burden grew, he wanted to help, all of them. But he couldn't, he was just one man. He found a bench, sat down. The weight threatened to crush him, he had to do something, anything, but what? The question echoed in the void of his despair. John wasn't born this way. It started slowly. An ache in his chest when he passed a homeless man. A wave of nausea hearing about a family evicted. It grew stronger. He felt everything, too much. At first it was a gift. He understood people, their pain, their joy. It made him a good listener, a good friend. But the city's despair, it was an ocean. He was drowning. He tried to shut it out. Meditation, medication, nothing worked. The city's emotions, a constant scream in his head. He was trapped, his gift, a curse. John wanted to be normal, to walk down the street oblivious, but he couldn't. He was cursed to feel it all, the city's pain, his own. He saw her every day, the old woman hunched over on the street corner, begging. He felt her shame, her fear. She was alone. He gave her what he could, a few dollars, a kind word. It wasn't enough, he knew it. But it was all he had. His own apartment, small, cramped, he was barely making it himself. There was the young couple, fighting in the park. He felt their desperation. They had a child. He could feel the child's confusion, their hunger. It gnawed at him. He saw himself in them. The fear of losing everything, the struggle to hold on to hope. He wanted to tell them, it will be okay. But he knew the lie. Sometimes it wasn't okay. Sometimes there was light. He met a young man, Mark. Mark was starting a community garden. He felt Mark's passion, his desire to help. It was a spark in the darkness. John volunteered. He helped plant seeds, water the fledgling plants. He felt the earth's grounding energy. It calmed the storm inside him. For a while, he saw the impact, people coming together, sharing food, sharing stories. He felt their gratitude, their hope. It was a balm on his soul, but it wasn't enough. The city was vast, the need, endless. He couldn't save everyone. The weight returned, heavier than before. He was losing himself. Section 5. The abyss gazes back. The thought first came as a whisper. What if he could turn it off, his empathy, his curse? What if he could be free? He researched, doctors, therapists, experimental treatments. There were risks. They could damage his mind, leave him empty. But the alternative, to drown in the city's sorrow? He imagined a life without the constant ache in his chest, without the burden of a million tears. He could be happy. He could be free. But what about the others? The old woman, the young couple, Mark. Could he turn his back on their pain? Could he live with the guilt? The questions haunted him. He stood on the bridge, looked down at the rushing water below, the city's noise, a dull roar. He felt the wind on his face, cold, impersonal. In his pocket he clutched a card, a doctor's name, a phone number, a chance for a normal life, a chance to escape. But at what cost? He thought of the faces, the ones he'd helped, the ones he couldn't. Their pain was etched in his memory, their stories, woven into his being. He closed his eyes, took a deep breath. The city's emotions, a tidal wave, threatening to pull him under. He had to decide, now. His empathy, a gift or a curse? He didn't jump. He couldn't. The city's pain was his own, he was a part of it, and it was a part of him. To turn away from their suffering, he would be turning away from himself. He walked away from the bridge. The weight was still there, but it was different now. It wasn't crushing him, it was fueling him. He had a purpose. He couldn't save everyone, he knew that, but he could make a difference. One person at a time, one act of kindness at a time. He would use his empathy, his curse, his gift. He would be their voice, their advocate. He would fight for them for as long as he could. John learned to cope. He set boundaries. He couldn't be everything to everyone, but he could offer a listening ear, a shoulder to cry on, a moment of respite. He found solace in connection. He joined support groups, met others who felt the weight of the world. They shared their stories, their struggles, their hopes. He realized he wasn't alone. There were others like him, empaths, sensitives. They called themselves the wounded healers. They understood his pain. They taught him techniques, grounding, shielding, ways to manage the overwhelming emotions. He learned to protect himself, without shutting down completely. John continued his work. He volunteered at homeless shelters, organized food drives, spoke out against injustice. He used his voice to amplify the voices of the unheard. He found strength in their resilience, their determination, their hope. He saw the best of humanity in the face of adversity, and it gave him hope. He knew the fight was far from over, but he also knew that even small acts of kindness could have a ripple effect. He could be the change he wanted to see in the world. One person at a time, one act of compassion at a time. He embraced his empathy, his burden, his gift. He was John, and he would make a difference.